Hey YouTube, this is my original Apple Newton. I won't tell you how long ago this was bought, but it's an original. It had an upgrade from Apple on it, fundamentally it's the original device. And I took it out the other day because I was curious, because I was going to do some other videoing on some other bits and pieces. And when I plugged the power supply in and plugged the unit in, up to this point in time it had been working quite okay for a couple of years. I plugged it in and I was faced with this. So you can hear I've got the bong, but the display is in a very sad state at the moment. So did a bit of googling, and I found out that actually there are probably two wet electrolyte capacitors that have failed, 100 microfarad and 3.3 microfarad. So I've ordered up some spare parts. I think the original should be about 4 volts. I got 16 volts for the 100 microfarad, and then the 3.3 microfarad should be 35 volts, and I got 50 volts. So they should be within spec. So what I'm going to do without further ado is basically take this to pieces. It's quite easy to take to pieces, I believe. You essentially take out the screws under here. The battery compartment doesn't have a battery inside it, but once you've removed all of the screws that pertain to the cover, then you get inside. So I'm not going to bore you with going through all of the screws. What I will do is I'll get inside the case to a certain point, and then I'll show you how to get access to the more tricky parts of it, or the tricky part for me, I think, will be to take that away. To release this battery, which is the battery backup, just push that that little clip in here, slide it all the way over, and then you can easily use something to pop it out. So there you go. Now it's lost all of its information, but now then that's now discharged and is now not using any power. Right, so the cover's off, which is the easiest way to unclip it. Is there are 2 clips either side, here and here, which snag it on. There's a little screw here that you need to take off, and then the rest of the screws are fairly easy. Now what we're going to do is just take some of these bigger screws out of the way. So one of the first one is this capacitor here. So this is the 100 microfarad. According to the little circuit on this one, you need to sort of desolder that sort of area, and then flip it up. But first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the cases off. So there's some big arrows, like the big pointed arrows, and then there's a little pointed arrow. So these are the ones which have got the longer length screws in theory. So I should just be able to pop these ones out, and then I'll put the screws to one side. So I think that's all the black ones, that one, that one, and then not taking those ones out, and then that one there. So yeah, these 2 you don't really need to take off because they hold on the essentially the PCMCIA card that holds the device on. Sorry, the PCMCIA card in usage there. Let's move that out of the way. So if I remember rightly, if you move it around, you can see that the circuit is held by a little clip under here. So the idea is you pop that clip up, and then you can obviously lever the circuit board out, or that's the suggestion anyway. So let's try and do that. See if I've got a way of doing it this way. So let's go. I was about to pop it out, I think. It's resisting me. I think that should just come out now. Oh, there it goes. Yep. So there we go. So that's now mostly loose. I was expecting this side to be loose as well. Why has that not come away? there another screw here? Don't think so. Last time I tried it, it was fairly free to pop out, I thought. Oh, there's another screw there. Right, down, missed it. This one. Okay. So that's putting a little bit of pressure on the, right, so now we've got the board sort of loose. Now the next thing to do is actually to release these. So apparently there's a little clip under here, and theory, once you bung those off, I think, and it's still caught a little bit maybe. Yep, that's released. Now, you should just be able to lift this up. Speaker's still attached, so rather than... So, there we go. So the area that needs to be removed, I believe, is this chap here. So this guy has failed. And this is essentially the 3.3 microfarad. So what I'm now going to do is remove him, but I believe that he's soldered down on this side here. So I'm just going to put a little bit more light on so I can actually see what I'm doing. So yeah, so there's your positive and your negative, positive and negative. There's my, so I get my 3.3 volt. 3.3 microfarad capacitor, 50 volts. So here's my new capacitor. It's a 3.3, and you can see that I've got my negative leads are that side. So what I'm going to do, because negative goes to negative that way, I'm just going to fold it down. So I've now folded it down, and then while holding my finger there, I'm going to fold it back up again. Let me fold it back up. Now that's folded back up. So hopefully that will be good enough. Not the prettiest, but it'll do. So that will now go on into the circuit here, and I'll be able to solder that in place quite easily in a few minutes. So I need to desolder this one. So I think, if I understand correctly, it's held in at the front here with a little bit of solder. So try not to there we go, that's come up. And now what I need to do is remove the negative. Just heat that up. Doesn't seem to want to come away. Okay, so there's the capacitor. You can see, yeah, it's certainly leaked out a little bit underneath there. So what I'm now going to do is I'm just going to clean this down with a bit of alcohol wipe. Let's try and clean up this area a little bit around here. You can certainly see there's been some leakage. Right, so that's mostly cleaned up. It'll air dry the rest of it off. So yeah, so the electrolyte definitely leaked on that spot. So now what we need to do is just add a little bit of solder onto that connection point, so that I can get the actual capacitor to take. So again, let's